Let's take one more call. Let's go to Victoria in Austin, Texas. Victoria, what's happening?
Hey, John, how are you?
So good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for taking my call today.
You bet. Thanks for calling. How can I help?
So my dad was diagnosed with bipolar 2 a few years ago,
Okay.
and I'm struggling with how to have a boundaries conversation with him.
What type of boundaries?
Well, I guess we have kind of a non-traditional, relationship. He was very verbally and emotionally abusive with me growing up. And, as I've gotten older, I've kind of noticed it more and more how kind of not normal it is. And so, just a lot of times I get pressure from my grandparents to spend time with him or see him, even though I can clearly feel that it's uncomfortable. It gets to the point where my anxiety is so heightened that, I don't sleep for a couple days if I interact with him at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is bipolar, that diagnosis gave our family a lot of answers as to why he is the way that he is. Growing up, he was always pretty manic. He would, everybody walks on eggshells around him.
Right.
You never know what you're going to get. For the most part, it was usually going to be anger. And that was kind of just how it was. That was the normal, that's just kind of what I grew up around. So, like I said, I've gotten older. I've noticed that, I'm very aware now of the fact that I've correlated seeing him with this heightened anxiety, with, not sleeping, really just critically overanalyzing everything. When I go home to visit, it's like, okay, how do I tell him I'm here? Or do I have to tell him I'm here? It's just this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I really just want to kind of take control of the situation and figure out how to say, you know what, I'm an adult now. If I don't want to see you, I don't want to see you. And you got to be okay with that. But I think that kind of the little girl in me still has a huge amount of fear around him and kind of that, how's he going to react? Or, he's probably going to get mad. So maybe I shouldn't have this conversation, that kind of thing.
So, Kirsten, I'm high-fiving you. I am double high-fiving you from Nashville to Texas. Oh, sorry. You're not Kirsten. You're Victoria. Let me redo that one again. Sorry. Victoria. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Victoria. I am high-fiving you from Nashville to Texas. You are an absolute rock star. I every time a child turns, again, we had this earlier with Clint. Every time a child turns and stares down childhood trauma and says no more, I just want to high five you. That's not going to be easy, but I want to high five you. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
Very quickly, boundaries are for you, not for him.
Right.
Your boundaries are about your safety. Your boundaries are about your relationships, your joy, your ability to function in and out of every day. He doesn't get a vote. He doesn't get an influence. And he doesn't get taken into account when you are deciding the boundaries for you and your family. Period. Now, bipolar 2, bipolar 1, any diagnostic is a context, not an excuse.
Right.
Okay? He had bipolar 2, so be it. He doesn't get to verbally abuse you.
Yeah.
He had bipolar 2. He doesn't get to fill your home with rage and pain and not show you connection and not show you love and traumatize you and send you off careening through a lifetime of trying to find connection through all sorts of different ways. It's a context, not an excuse. Okay?
Yeah. Well, and to throw a wrench into everything, I think that he's kind of sensed that, I'm pushing further and further away. And, for a while it was like, he'll call me and just seeing his name on my phone, like my stomach drops. And
Yeah,
it's like,
but listen, Victoria, it doesn't matter what he senses. You're still letting him have power over you.
Yeah.
Take that brick out of the backpack completely.
What I was going to say is that he senses me kind of getting my distance, and so he's like, hey, guess what? Grandma and Grandpa and I are going to come up to visit you.
And tell them this isn't a good weekend. You know why? Because you get to decide. You absolutely get to decide that. And it may be a really awkward trip one day when they come and you don't see them. And that will be a choice that those 3 adults made, not you. Right?
Okay.
You no longer have to carry that burden. What you do have to do is draw really firm boundaries and be very clear about them. The hard part about drawing boundaries where you're drawing them is they tend to be kind of flexible, kind of loose, kind of back and forth, and it sends mixed messages to people. It makes it very challenging to know where your boundaries are going to truly be. So you got to take some time and say, I will not see him other than these times. When my grandparents tell me, they give me the guilt trip and I will follow up with this statement. And I will practice letting it go. I will block his number if I have to. I'll pull out my cell phone and delete it because I get to do that because I'm a grown-up. And it might be for a few months. It might be for a season. It might be forever. But you get to draw that boundary, not him. And they call and say, guess what? We've been missing you, so we're all coming up to visit. That's when they're testing. How hard, how strong is that fence going to hold? And that's when you say, hey, guys, I'm not going to be here. Or I'm not going to be available this weekend. Well, we're coming anyway. Well, that's great, but I'm not going to be able to see you.
Yeah, because under no circumstances do I want him in my home, especially alone.
There you go, right? There you go. And that's your decision. And it's going to be hard. Again, I can say this over and over and over. It's going to be hard. It really is. But it's a choice you get to make. And so be clear. Make sure everybody knows. For somebody with bipolar, something that's really helpful is a letter because they can hold it and they can go back to it. And they can go back to it in a hypomanic state. They can go back, for bipolar 2 folks, they can go back to it when they are low. They can go back to it when they are flying through life and functioning great. But that way it's not a one-time conversation that gets filtered and gets waved through. It's something they can hold and see. It might be something for your grandparents. If they can have a conversation with you, if they need it in writing too, great, so be it. But it's going to be about you saying, here's my boundaries. This is the way it's going to be. I'm in control of my adult life, and here's where I'm headed, with or without you. And I'm so proud of you for making that decision. Mental health diagnosis, I'll say it again, are context and not an excuse, and your boundaries are yours, not theirs. Good for you. Good for you.